Well, it's the morning of day 3, and this is not the way I expected things to go, but we didn't find a bear last night. We went a little ways, found really good blood, and then the blood just stopped. Just dead stop from a good blood trail. And in fact, I was looking up the trees thinking, what the heck, does this bear just get airlifted out of here or climb a tree or what? But so we looked for quite a while, did a little bit of a grid search, came back and looked at the video, and it sure looks like a near perfect shot. But I think we're going to go out this morning after daylight here and maybe put a dog on it or something. I haven't heard yet. They're talking about what to do about it right now. Yeah, it's pretty baffling, but sometimes these bears, it's hard to figure them out. I actually dropped a pin on the last blood and then went back to the bait, and it's 46 yards. So it felt like a lot more than that pushing through the bush, but there's only a 46-yard blood trail, and then it completely quit. So anyway, we're gonna head out there and see what happens. And I mean, that bear's got to be dead. You know, I'm kind of hoping they just decide to take a dog and put on it, and hopefully the dog will just run right to it. That's best case scenario. So that's kind of a crummy feeling, but I gotta feel, you know, hopefully it'll have a good outcome. So they come in and pulled the tape down.
Are they really pulling the tape off the trees? They must have.
This is last blood right here.
Oh, yeah, I had that tied around a tree somewhere.
Yeah, it was right here.
Right, look, there's a...
They just pulled it off, huh?
Yeah, it must have been, they don't like
They don't like that.
Yeah, so here...
So the last blood was on this leaf here.
Yeah, and then there was one more drop right here.
There's a little drop on a leaf up there, but that's one.
It's cutting.
So what do you...
The trail's going this way.
Well, there he is. I overestimated him by about 100 pounds. That's one of the problems with... That's one of the problems with shooting that last light.
Hey, we got it. Oh, yeah, 10-4 Bernie found him. He went about 200 yards. There you go. Indian Ella. Indian Bernie. He's the one that found his own bear.
All right, we found the bear here this morning. He went another 125 yards from where we lost last blood last night. There's a lot of blood where we found him, but there was no blood between here and there. Interestingly, I just saw a really distinct bear trail where you could see where they put their paws. And I thought, I'll just follow this a ways. Followed it about 75 yards, and I looked over and I'm like, there's a really thick patch of stuff right there. I guess if he's looking for a place to lay down, that's where I'd go. And so I walked over, and there he was. So one of the issues with shooting a bear at last light is they always look bigger than they actually are. This bear's about a 200-pounder. I thought it was bigger than that, but it's a good representative bear for North Carolina, and it has been a tremendous experience hunting with the Temples. Doug Temple is... he is a cornerstone in bear hunting with hounds, not just on the East Coast, but everywhere, but especially in North Carolina on the East Coast. And his family, Ellis and Wade and Noah, and it's just been a really tremendous experience, and I really highly recommend this. This is not the bear that people come here for, but they got a lot of 500-pound bears. They got 684 pound. They had at least a 684-pound bear, as I showed you earlier. But those bears, they're here, and the bear density in this area is just unreal. The numbers of bears is just pretty incredible, and it's just been a really fun experience, and I'm just really grateful that I had the opportunity to be a part of this. And I'll tell you what, now that I've shot a bear like this and I've seen what's available here, I kind of feel like I might have to come back. So Once that thing gets moving, they really get cooking. All right, awesome. Come on, you can do it.
I'm out now. Nice You would have knocked him out.
Alright, what we got? Well, it's just getting daylight here. I'm going through the Quad Cities at 6:30 in the morning. Stayed in a motel last night in Danville, Illinois, and just woke up about 2:30, tried to go back to sleep, couldn't go back to sleep, so just decided to drive, and so I got up at 3 o'clock and drove again in the middle of the night, which is nice because there's not as much traffic, but now I'm going through the Quad Cities right at rush hour. So I just wanted to debrief a little bit, I guess, mention a couple of things about this hunt. You know, I've never been a real big dog hunt guy, but I really do appreciate seeing really well-trained, well-bred dogs with good handlers who really know what they're doing and watching them do their job, and it's pretty cool. And I was with some of the best. Doug Temple is known throughout the East Coast as one of the best dog breeders, dog handlers, best bear hunters, and he's got a couple of young guys, Rob and Brent, that he's mentored, and they both got tremendous dogs, and they really know how to handle them. And so it was really a pleasure to be a part of that part of it. And I ended up shooting the bear off of a bait, but I could have shot multiple bears over the dogs. Just you know, decided not to. And the other thing is, it's a really tough gig for a bow hunter to get a bow through those thick tangles of briars. I mean, it's unreal how thick it is in places. You pretty much have to experience it to fully understand it. And getting a bow with your arrows and your sight and everything like that pushed through some of that stuff is pretty tough. And then they're not enthusiastic about shooting a bear out of a tree with an arrow because you know, the bear could come down with the arrow in it and end up right where the dogs are tied off or something like that. They don't want the dogs biting at a bear that's got a broadhead sticking out of it. So they're less than enthusiastic about bow hunters, let's just say. So I would say that if you ever want to experience a hunt like this, you just do it. Just do it once. It's really cool. And they have some gigantic bears, as you saw here in North Carolina. They have some absolute giant bears that they get with dogs that you'll never get on a bait because they won't come to a bait during the daylight. And right there by the Dismal Swamp in North Carolina, and then also now, as I mentioned, they're hunting in Maine before the season opens in North Carolina. Both Robin and Doug are going up there to Maine and hunt with OMM Outfitters, which is a really cool place that I've hunted before, and it's just a really neat spot to hunt bears. And Eagle Lake Sporting Camps, it's got to be, I don't know, it's from the late 1800s, I think, is when it was first established there. And there's been people like Teddy Roosevelt stayed in a cabin there, and a lot of Hollywood celebrities from the 30s and 40s, Bing Crosby, I don't know, they named some others. It's an option you might want to consider if you want to do a hunt like this. So I had a fun time at the Cumberland Gap yesterday. It was neat to see the history of the Wilderness Road that Daniel Boone established in the late 1700s. He established it for the migrating white people, of course, that had Indian trails and buffalo trails through it for generations, but he actually readied it for the wagons and so forth. And then I was really excited about going to Boonesboro and seeing the fort and that historical site. Unfortunately, when I got there, it was closed for the winter. And I mean, I Googled it, and the Google said that it's open, and then I got there and it was closed. So fortunately, it wasn't that far out of my way, but I don't know if I'll just have to plan another trip or whatever. So I hope you enjoyed this. It's kind of different than a lot of the stuff I normally do, and it was a really, really fun hunt. And like I said, I would encourage you to do it if you want. Really cool, unique experience. Thanks a lot for joining me, and we got more good content coming, so stay tuned, and there'll be more videos coming out here over the next few weeks.